If there's one thing most men get wrong, it's this. They think compliments make her like them. They don't. They expose you if you use them wrong. You're about to unlock something very few men understand. Because when you compliment her the way everyone else does, you're so beautiful, you look amazing, you're different, you instantly become forgettable. Not because the words are wrong, but because she's heard them from weaker men. And weak men don't move her. Now picture this instead. You say something quietly, subtle. It lands differently. She can't explain it, but it lingers. Suddenly she's thinking about you on her way home. You didn't compliment her body, you complimented her identity, her edge, her presence, her restraint. You touch the part of her that's hidden from the average man. Most men think compliments are about making her feel good. But real compliments, forbidden compliments, make her feel seen, maybe for the first time. If you get this right, she won't just blush. She'll fixate. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to give the kind of compliments that bypass her ego, tap into her feminine core, and make her crave your attention. Not for how you made her feel, but for how you made her feel about herself when she was around you. Number 1, compliment her ego, not her beauty. You're standing across from her. She's dressed to kill, hair perfect, lips sharp, eyes asking for attention. And you can feel it. She's waiting for the same compliment she always gets. You look stunning tonight. That dress is incredible. You're beautiful. But you don't say it. Instead, you look her dead in the eye and say, you move like someone who doesn't care if anyone notices, but they all do. Now pause, because what you just did wasn't flattery. It was a mirror. You spoke directly to the part of her that she protects the most, her ego. Every beautiful woman has a secret. She's addicted to power, not praise. And most men hand over praise so easily that it loses all weight. When you compliment her looks, she puts you in the same drawer as every man who's tried before. But when you speak to her self-perception, her uniqueness, her control, her restraint, you confuse her ego. And confusion is power. She starts asking questions. Why did that hit differently? How did he see that in me? Who is this guy? The compliment was subtle, but the emotional impact? Immediate, because you weren't admiring her. You were acknowledging her dominance without worshiping it. She's used to being desired, but she's not used to being understood. This is what makes your words forbidden. You're not inflating her ego, you're slipping inside it, quietly. And when you get in that deep, she starts chasing clarity. Now ask yourself, what's more powerful? Making her feel sexy for 5 minutes, or making her question her entire impression of you for 5 days? This is the difference between flattery and psychological seduction. You're not just talking to her, you're training her mind to associate you with reflection, not validation. And when she's around you, she'll crave that feeling again, not because she wants your attention, but because your words made her feel more like herself than anyone else ever did. You didn't compliment her beauty. You complimented the story she tells herself in the mirror. And now you live in it. But let's go even deeper. Because here's what's happening inside her. You didn't just touch her ego, you calibrated it. You didn't mirror what she knows. You reframed what she's afraid to admit. A woman's beauty is rehearsed, it's practiced, built to attract, deflect, and control. But her identity, the one beneath all that, craves recognition. Quiet, rare, earned recognition. Most men hand out compliments like currency. But you offer meaning. That's dangerous. Because now she associates your presence with elevation. You become the one who sees her beyond the external. The one who doesn't reinforce what she shows but amplifies what she hides. That makes her feel exposed and fascinated. She'll test you, she has to. She'll challenge the tone, the implication, even the silence between your lines. But every time you hold your ground, every time you refuse to fall into admiration and stay in acknowledgement, she gets pulled further in. She starts performing, not for your praise, but to maintain the version of herself that only you seem to notice. You've reversed the flow. You're not the man chasing her validation. You've become the quiet standard she now measures herself against. And that's the most forbidden compliment of all. making a woman feel seen without needing her to see you first. Number 2, frame the compliment to elevate yourself. She's used to hearing things that lift her, but not challenge her. Most men, even the well-meaning ones, fall into the same trap. They praise her in ways that lower their value. They tell her she's amazing, that she's different, that she's not like the others. They hand over admiration like it's candy. And in doing so, they unconsciously say, "You're above me, I'm seeking approval." But that's not you. You understand something deeper. True compliments don't elevate her. They elevate you through how you deliver them. You don't throw praise like confetti. You place it with intent, strategically, cleanly, from the top down, not the bottom up. You don't say, "You're beautiful." You say, "Most people rely on appearance, but your energy makes people look twice." That's rare. You've just made a statement about your taste, your standard, your clarity. She hears the words, but feels the weight behind them. You didn't compliment her. You gave her access to your frame. And the unspoken part? That access is not free. Now the compliment doesn't just lift her. It makes her wonder, what did I do to earn that? This is where most men disappear. They want her to feel good. You want her to respect your lens. She starts adjusting, not to impress you, but to maintain that position in your frame. Because you didn't flatter, you reflected something precise and let it echo. This turns a simple line into a reference point she keeps returning to. Not because it was loud, but because it was clean, filtered, and rooted in self-possession. A compliment like this says, "I know what I see, and I don't say it often, but right now I do." She doesn't feel worshipped. She feels seen and slightly off balance, because now she's thinking, what does this man value? Why does it feel like he sees something deeper? And when a woman starts asking questions about your perception, that's when the dynamic shifts. You are no longer just another voice in the crowd. You've become the man who makes her rethink her posture, her tone, her depth, not out of pressure, but because you held a mirror without trembling. Here's where it gets deeper. The compliments you give become standards she compares others to. They imprint, they shape, they burn slowly. She'll replay your words while dressing up for another man, not because she wants to impress him, but because your standard lives in her head now. That's what a frame does. It rewrites internal dialogue. You're not trying to dominate, you're anchoring. You're showing her that your attraction isn't random. It's selective, earned, and rare. And when attraction feels rare, it becomes addictive. You say little, but it cuts deep, because it wasn't designed to impress her. It was designed to remind her, this is what being seen by a grounded man feels like. She won't say it, but inside she'll start organizing her identity around your reflection. That's not ego, that's influence. And that's how a compliment, spoken once, never repeated, becomes the silent bar she measures every interaction by. Now imagine this, you're at a rooftop event. She's dressed sharp, with practiced elegance. Everyone around her flatters her like they're playing a role. You, on the other hand, lean in and say, you carry yourself like someone who's used to being underestimated, until it's too late. Then you walk away. You didn't give her something to react to. You gave her something to carry, a riddle, a recognition, a challenge. She can't file you away, can't box you up. She has to work to place you. And that work, that psychological movement, is what builds attachment. A man who elevates through presence doesn't need repetition. He doesn't repeat himself to be remembered. He says it once and lets it live. The echo of a grounded compliment is louder than 1,000 praises. Most men are noise. You are silent with shape, precision with weight. That is the difference. That is why she can't forget it. And the more you master this, the less you need to say. Because now she's speaking to herself in your voice. Number 3, say less, mean more. Use implied praise. You walk into the room and notice her before she notices you. She's in control. Her posture is intentional, her gaze guarded. She knows the game. She's played it 1,000 times. Most men will walk up and lead with words. Loud, obvious compliments were designed to capture her attention. You look amazing. You're stunning tonight. Words she's heard so often they blur together. But not you. You understand the power of suggestion, the weight of subtlety. You know that sometimes the loudest message is the one unspoken. So instead, you look her in the eyes and say, "There's something about your calm that makes noise feel unnecessary." Then you walk away. No punchline, no setup, just presence and precision. She pauses, her ego wants more. Her instinct is to define what you just said, but she can't. You didn't praise her, you framed her. You didn't ask for her attention. You made her chase the meaning behind yours. That's the essence of implied praise. It's not about giving her something. It's about sparking a search within her. Why did that line feel different? Why does she want to hear more? Why is she still thinking about it hours later? Implied praise lives in the gray. It hides in tone, pacing, and intention. It's the compliment she suspects, but isn't sure of. And that uncertainty creates obsession. She's used to certainty, to clear compliments and obvious signals. But now you've introduced a riddle, a message that whispers instead of shouts. You say less, she feels more. And that imbalance drives curiosity. Curiosity breeds engagement. Engagement turns into fixation. You never gave her anything she could cling to. That's the trick. She's now building her meaning, writing her script, casting you in a role you never auditioned for. When you use implied praise, you force her to invest. Not in you, but in the idea of you. And that idea is far more addictive than any compliment. You might say, "I bet you get bored easily, but somehow you stayed in this conversation." Then let the silence sit. You've implied she's selective, intelligent, hard to impress, but you didn't validate it. You framed it, loosely, casually, as if you weren't even trying. And that's what cuts deep, because she has to fill in the blanks. She has to work for it. She has to replay your words just to feel the edges again. The best compliments don't land. They echo. Most men fire praise like arrows, fast, flashy, and shallow. You drop ideas like seeds and walk away. Days later, they grow into something she can't name. That's the magic of restraint. That's the science of mystery. And it doesn't end there. The next time you speak, you keep the pattern. You speak in layers. You say things that could be praise or could be nothing. You leave room for her to decide. And the more she decides, the more she invests. The more she invests, the more she feels. The more she feels, the more power you hold. Not by force, not by charm, but by discipline. Because saying less means you choose your words like a blade, not to harm, but to reveal, to expose something inside her she didn't even know it was there. She won't say it out loud, but she'll start anticipating your words like a secret note. Every interaction becomes a new page, and every page is written in half lines, unspoken emotion, and pregnant pauses. You're not praising her. You're writing tension. You're building a narrative. You're letting her mind finish your sentences. And that's how attraction grows, not in clarity, but in questions. You become the man who doesn't flatter. You implima. An implication is the quietest form of seduction. The man who knows this, he doesn't need to chase attention. He becomes the reason she's not listening to anyone else. Because everything they say feels too loud, too obvious, too empty compared to you. And if she ever brings it up, tries to name what you're doing, you smile and shift the subject. Because once you define it, it loses its mystique. She's chasing something she can't pin down, and that's exactly where your strength lies. You remain undefined, unfinished, intriguing. The more effort she puts into solving you, the deeper the connection becomes. Not because she's in love, but because she's invested. Now even your absence becomes presence. Even your silence becomes a voice in her head. That's what happens when you master implied praise. You don't give her a gift, you plant a question. And let her unwrap it every time she remembers you. And she will remember. Because the men who say too much are forgettable. But the one who says just enough, he echoes. You've learned something most men will never understand. Compliments are not about giving her something. They're about revealing who you are. Not through noise, but through clarity. Because any man can say she's beautiful. Only a grounded man can say it without collapsing under the weight of his desire. And when you choose your words with precision, when you speak less and suggest more, she listens longer. The men she forgets are the ones who tried too hard. The one she remembers? He never tried, he just saw and said what he meant once. So now the question is, can you stay in that silence long enough for it to work? Can you resist the urge to follow up, to explain, to chase? Because real power lives in stillness. And if you've watched this far, you already feel it. The edge, the shift. You don't need to be louder. You need to be more exact, more composed, more rare. That's the man who lingers. That's the man she replays. And that's the man who never needs to prove anything again. You don't get her back by praising her. You get her back by seeing her in a way no one else dared to. You can't have her back by waiting. You have her back by never needing her again.